Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be hopping to our next series. Let me go and get the overlay updated. It is going to be Billowy. Super. Alright, but this and it's still going to be a best of 3. But the starting map is Arena. Weekly events that actually exist in StarCraft with a $200 prize pool makes sense. I mean, you're playing versus other Koreans. Right? Oh. Hey, Zombie Grub, we're back. Zoom.
Well, oh, I thought it was on purpose. I saw you were muted.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but I think that we're just waiting on Super. And we already see the Billowy maybe not winning quite as much in prize money. I like to use prize money as a little bit of a determining factor of like success. It's not always the best determining factor, since players can get like deep runs into tournaments but not really earn a lot of prize money regardless. But each other too many times. They played actually 3. It went 2-1 in favor of Billowy, so seems like it might be.
And they're on Africa Freaks.
Yeah, I really do feel like that's the case. That's one of the nice things, really safe bet. But anyways, we are going to hop into the map Arena. We'll see you guys there in just a second.
Yeah, congratulations. It's like a half birthday.
Is that how yeah, I guess that's how half birthdays work.
Yeah.
No.
Year,
Okay, well,
every 6 months.
yeah. I guess it's not every 6.
Work?
It's not every 6 months, because then you'd have a half birthday on the day of your birthday too.
Well, then what else would you call it, Fear Dragon? Left as the Blue Protoss. He's super.
Look, people are calling me out in the chat for muting my mic on Zoom. At least I didn't mute my mic for the stream today. I've been pretty on point with production for the. I know.
You don't have to mute all the time, you know. Rifkin just usually tells me to shut up.
I know. I like muting though, because I like being able to like say things or talk during the break. Be like, wow, that player's.
Players are dating.
I'm always about following the drama. But alright, Super, open it up with the start about PvP on Arena. Is that I really like Stargate.
His neural line. Go to his neural line. Zoom in.
Oh, there's idle probes. The rally point. He
wanted to highlight that.
he fixed the probes mining, but he didn't fix the rally point, so it's gonna continue to happen.
Yeah, it's actually pretty bad. I'm glad they realized at least some of it, but that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
What's a bigger deal though is of course getting correct scouting.
Dark Templars.
Super. He sees a Twilight Council, and he didn't see anything else on it. A Chrono Boost or that it was working, so he might have some idea, but he has an Oracle. The proxy pylon's pretty far away. It's a slow warp in, and his observer's probably gonna be out by now. And then
if he makes an observer first, and it's gonna be an immortal first instead. Oh, this is gonna be rough. He might lose the sentries almost immediately. That's gonna be a really annoying loss because it kills off the hallucinations or the ability to do any sort of scouting like that.
Well, he notices the little shimmers, and that's actually a pretty good move.
Oh, do you think he's leaving one DT to kill off the pylon, and he leaves the other DT to move over to the main base and force the army over there? I think he could just come in with a push-in later on with a bunch of gateway units before the pylon gets rebuilt and maybe try and do a little bit of damage there.
I would think that was an awesome move if he was already prepping for it, but unfortunately,
yeah,
like, there's nothing going across the map. There's really nothing to even attack with, like 4 Stalkers, something that I think Super could deal with fine, and Blink, of course, is only, well, not even halfway done.
Yeah, I think the Oracles are making it a lot harder to make something like that happen. Just because with the Oracles over there, you're like, okay, let's move across the map, and I'm losing all my workers. I mean, Photon Overcharge is good, but you do run out of those eventually.
Super takes a surprisingly quick third base, but maybe just assuming that it's going to go to that type of game, like he'll be able to hold on to anything Billowy has to throw at him. With his DT, he's not really doing a whole lot of damage, but it's actually Billowy that's up in probes and only slightly down in army. I guess he doesn't have as good of an army because he's not getting immortals, but he will have that blink to really roam around.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue the DTs did a decent amount. It wasn't like ending the game amounts of damage, but it was a pretty decent amount with like 7-ish workers killed, killing off the pylon at the front, and denying mining for the natural for a little bit. But yeah, I would definitely agree. Like, it wasn't like game-ending amounts of damage or anything. Well, third expansion's going up for both of these players. Another DT gets warped in. This DT's lifeline might be a little bit shorter since the observer is out and Super's not exactly moving around. But hey, I like the DT almost just using it as an observer and like getting a bit of scouting information with it.
Yeah. Interesting to see Super go for double forge. Definitely interesting to see a double forge in any matchup nowadays, but especially in PvP. And all the PvPs we've been casting, which have been quite a few recently because of the Yord Civil War tournament.
Yeah.
I think one game out of 15, I want to say, because there's best of fives, someone did go for a double forge, and it was certainly an interesting choice. It takes away so much gas from everything else. It's usually not what you want. But.
And the other thing is, like, the reason why Protoss oftentimes just don't go for armor upgrades is because armor upgrades don't do a lot in PvP. So many of the units that you really are relying on, like, look at how many immortals these guys are already making. And we already have 2 out right now for Super, a third one on the way. Billowy is about to get his second one. Having an armor upgrade means that you do, what, like 54 damage instead of 55 damage once you start having some of those weapon upgrades. Like, it doesn't do a whole lot, so I'm surprised to see that. If anything, I would actually really like to see something like a shield upgrade, just because I think shield upgrades are cool and underrated, but that's just me.
It would help the Archons that Super's definitely not getting.
I mean, at least the shield upgrades will regenerate. Armor upgrades are like, cool, I will soak up a little bit of damage once for my entire unit's lifeline. Where shield upgrades is like, hey, as long as I keep this unit alive with like good blink micro, or you know, the Archon backs up, I can regenerate all that health, and the shield upgrade applies multiple times.
Yeah. Actually, I want to withdraw attention to more than just the double upgrades, the composition that they're both going for. So, as you see, there's no one actually going towards that disruptor. Sure, Billowy did get Blink, and he has like a number of Blink Stalkers, but he's not going for Disruptor. He's actually trying to kill Super right here, right now. A couple of good force fields go down, taking a Mortal out right out of the fray.
I think these are amazingly good force fields. Killing off both of the Immortals. There's 2 Immortals still left over for Super, but so many units have gone down, and there are actually even still a couple of force fields left over. And now that he makes his way into this position in the third, guess what? He can easily force field out the army once again and just kill off this third guaranteed.
Yeah, Super's army is just so tiny. Charge is about to finish, and charge lots can be pretty damn effective against Blink Stalkers, especially if they can't blink away because they blinked in, but there's just so few of them.
Oh god, force field's trying to go up over here for Super, but it's not going to do anything against the Archon. GG gets called, and Billowy gonna be walking away with game number 1.
Making it look very easy. Like, just, okay, I'm gonna go around, and then I'll kind of push, and then yeah, you're kind of lose. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So then go.
I mean, the DT opening, I will say, like, it did a little bit of damage in just terms of getting ahead on workers. But yeah, I kind of feel like what you were talking about was a really big part of it. I feel like Super was trying to make a lot of other stuff happen. Like, he was trying to go for the double forge upgrade, he's trying to add on like more gateways and get like, I guess, a better later game composition up. But he just didn't. It was kind of like one of those weird situations. It was like watching a TVZ where the Zerg player is just like, okay, cool, I'm droning, I'm teching up, I'm droning. Oh, wait, there's a push up my front, I forgot to make units. Like, it kind of almost felt a little bit like that.
I agree. You know, he could have had, if he knew the attack was coming and was really prepped against it, maybe more frozen overcharges. I mean, I don't know if you can really stop him from force fielding like he did. Those were just really good force fields, but
yeah,
something to buy time for your upgrades and your charge lots. And I guess that's why he was going for the upgrades, but interesting to see what the second game will look like, because I am reminded of what we were talking about a lot in the European PvPs, and that, you know, the European and the Koreans play PvP differently, like really differently, different compositions, almost every single game, which is Blink Disruptor versus Charge Lot Archon Immortal.
I mean, I actually stand by the fact that, like, most Protosses played PvP differently than all the other Protosses, just because it's such a, like, it's a matchup that's very, very playstyle specific, and, like, Some of the differences are a little bit more subtle, but I think it's that's like one of the reasons why I think it's the best mirror matchup. But regardless, we're hopping into Dust Towers, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you guys there. Alright, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, spawning up here in the top right-hand corner of the map. We have the red Protoss player currently sitting down 0-1. Looking for 2 games in a row. Give it up for Super. Team Africa Freaks.
The bottom left, as the blue Protoss, he is Billowy.
We already have something sort of interesting going on. So one of the really, just talking about the meta for this map, it's very, very common to go for these kind of wall-ins. Normally you actually will oftentimes go for the full wall-in, at least in the foreign scene. But we're sort of seeing a reaction from both these players saying like, okay, it's such a common thing to do that and then to potentially either go for a one base all-in or a natural expansion. So planting down these pylons, both of these players doing it, although I will say Billowy is a little bit more reactionary, I think, is just really smart because you guarantee vision of your opponent's natural and you prevent them from taking it. So you know where your opponent stands. That big advantage of this map being able to wall in is no longer there.
And you know, Protoss is Protoss. There's really nothing to kill the probe early on, especially if you're too busy killing the pylon with a zealot. It's not even gonna have a chance. So you gotta wait for that stalker or the militia corps, whatever you're gonna get first, and it's gonna take a while. So like they get outside of the world, they're gonna find out what you're doing on one base if it is one base. And Billy's the first one to kill the pylon. You will throw on the natural at the correct natural. You really don't want to be throwing down that second base at the third. You're on the Zerg. And it's gonna be Super who's gonna wait a little while longer, get a Stargates, and then eventually kills the pylon, maybe get a Nexus. But I think Billowy, with how the time was on that, and his probe was in there for a very long time, should know something's up.
Yeah, I mean, even just having, even just having like the pylon there for so long, you've got to know that your opponent's natural is delayed pretty heavily. So surely the resources must have gone somewhere. But when we have Stargate versus Stargate, Zombie Grub, I know you've seen a couple of Phoenix versus Phoenix wars recently.
Oh my god. I can't believe that Super still goes for an Oracle, to be honest. After he was completely scouted, it would make the most sense for Billowy to go for counter Phoenixes. Like,
so I mean,
he's gonna start Phoenix.
I don't know. It's sort of hard because I think there's meta games in meta games in meta games on that, where you're like, because my opponent knows that I have a Stargate, the normal thing to do would be not to go for an Oracle. So because of that, they may just make an Oracle instead. Because Oracle is like, if you had full free reign, you would just go for an Oracle. You would not go for the Phoenix, because the Oracle can do more immediate damage sooner. It can do and it's a much smaller investment in terms of like having to get up a lot of Phoenix to do damage. But yeah, it's definitely not going to work out too well for him. Maybe out meta himself.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I just figured that if one person knows Stargate's happening and that person knows that his Stargate was scouted, then the only answer is really go for Phoenixes for both parties, and that's how I feel
But you know that your opponent knows that you know that you're going for Phoenix. So well, because of that, they might not.
So unless they actually don't get anything from the Stargate, like nothing at all, then you're going for a counter Oracle won't make any sense. Because like either they're gonna go for their own Oracle and you're gonna go for an Oracle and you're gonna trade probes, or they're gonna swap out the Oracle for Phoenix, and you shouldn't have gone for an Oracle anyway. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like Phoenix were always the right choice. But regardless of these stupid mind games, I feel like this is the exact scenario that has like led to the rise of Phoenix battles. Because in Wings Liberty and Heart of the Swarm, it was like once in a blue moon. It was very interesting, but it didn't happen very often. But in Legacy of the Void, I don't want to say it happened super often. I mean, we watched like 15 games and I think it happened once before the Yord thing, but it does happen a lot more often. And I think it's like situations like these. Billowy, I guess, hasn't been hasn't gotten the notification that's going to be Stargate versus Double Stargate.
Yeah.
So he might start behind.
The fact that Billowy is not just like taking a third and throwing down a robo and everything, the fact that he's still producing Phoenix greatly concerns me when Super is going for the Double Stargate Phoenix production, because honestly, this could already be game. The way that Phoenix versus Phoenix Wars work is that Phoenix do extra damage versus other Phoenix because they are both light units. So one or two Phoenix advantages spirals out of control unbelievably quickly. You'll see very, very quickly that if one person gets a small Phoenix advantage and they are able to like regenerate shields on some of their Phoenix, they actually just maintain like a ridiculously large advantage for almost a majority of the game.
Yeah. It plays out a lot like Muta versus Muta.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have glaive worms being affected by the ground, but you do have like, you know, any like amount of stalkers or photon overcharges can really help out with the Phoenix War should they take it over each other's bases and whatnot. So it's really similar. That's probably why I like it. But it can also be really silly if someone just like basically didn't get the notification like, hey, you're supposed to go on Phoenixes, and they go for, you know, a third base too soon, or they go for too many probes and they just start falling behind. They will usually stay behind. And that's what's happened. Billowy's down 3 Phoenix. They're matching production now, but that won't really matter. Looks like Super's gonna have like a minute of range as well, and that could be big.
That could actually be huge, especially if Super is aware of it. I think he's scouted around the third. He hasn't really scouted too much in the main base lately. But I actually really don't know how I feel about Billowy continuing to invest in the Stargate, getting out a second Stargate and continuing Phoenix production. I almost feel like this is one of those situations where you kind of say like, look, I'm down already like 3 or so Phoenix, which is a pretty, again, big number in Phoenix versus Phoenix Wars. And he even had the Observer inside the main base and saw how much earlier the Fleet Beacon was for Super. I feel like that was one of the points where you kind of say like, okay, look, let's get a Twilight Council, let's get up, you know, Blink and maybe some Archons or something. Like, this is where you start to transition out. But he's really investing into this and trying to make it work. He's getting up a third Stargate, so maybe he can make something work if Super doesn't commit. But, I mean, now that Aeon Pulse Crystals is finished, I feel like he's got to commit.
The +1's actually very interesting because we didn't know this for like such a long time, but it's like it doesn't actually affect the Phoenix Wars until +3, I think. I don't know if you want to do the math and confirm that. That's all up to you, man. But the point is, the first one definitely doesn't help. So at like up to a certain point, it feels almost like a useless. That could have been like another Stargate. That could have been, you know, one more Phoenix, something like that. So it is going to be interesting to see if Super even has it in him to get to further air upgrades instead of just going for additional Stargates, which now he's doing. Now he's making up for it big time by going for double Stargates, a couple double Stargates, quadruple Phoenix production. Oh, good. It's an impressive amount of Phoenix.
Yeah. 20 versus 22 damage. Okay, I'm going to stop trying to do the math on stream.
I was like, this is really not happening to do.
Amazingly enough, I will say, like, the triple Stargate play for Billowy has really started to pay off. I'm really surprised that Super didn't really commit, but this is one of those other things about Phoenix versus Phoenix Wars that sometimes you'll look at it and you'll be like, he had a ridiculous Phoenix advantage, why didn't he engage in? It's kind of a lot like you were saying, Muta versus Muta Wars, where one player will be like, I'm up X number of Phoenix, but we can only see that through the units units tab. They can't really see it. They just kind of get to see a glimpse of their opponent's Phoenix. Just like, I think that I have about the same number of Phoenix. Like, I don't know that I have 2 or 3 more Phoenix. And part of it is also just, I think that Super has played a little bit cautiously, because if you overcommit with Phoenix versus Phoenix, sort of unlike Muta versus Muta, at least with Muta versus Muta, you can kind of escape, even if you take a couple losses. With Phoenix versus Phoenix, there's no escape if you take a bad engagement.
Yeah, they're literally locked into each other's range.
Yeah.
Because they can move and shoot. So that was a very kind of funny engagement, and they both disengaged, and it's still even Phoenix count. But you're absolutely right. One of like the highlight moments of casting at DreamHack live is that I got to use In Control's flappy wings comment like right in front of him. Basically, yeah, you can't tell how many like flappy wings there are compared to like your flappy wings. So it's,
Yeah.
you know, what are you gonna do? It's kind of the same, and you can see too.
Oh
like,
my god.
Occasionally they'll just another Stargate comes down.
Wait.
They'll start like
Can you
bulking
support-
up the Phoenixes. You can't even see them.
Can you support 5 Stargates worth of Phoenix off of 3.5 bases with the main base being mined out? I don't know if you can.
As long as the gas is coming in, I think. The gas is gone. I don't think so.
Yeah, I suppose maybe. But here we go. Big trades over here. And I think that Super is just maintaining that small little lead. It's that 1 Phoenix advantage.
Yeah, seriously, just 1, now 0. I mean, and you gotta remember, at any point, a mothership core, or in Super's case, a mothership, comes over, suddenly that's just a little bit more damage for the Photon Overcharge. I guess a mothership could actually help attack as well. Which
I think the biggest thing with the mothership is that it forcibly soaks up hits, because if you don't have detection oftentimes with your Phoenix, because you're like, okay, if both players are having detection, that observer's gonna get killed off real damn quick. But
yeah,
it's an armored unit, and Phoenixes, they do extra damage versus light, but versus unarmored units, their base damage is 5 damage per hit twice. So that's already like less than 10 damage per hit versus like a 1 armored unit.
And this is usually that time where if everything was completely even from the get-go, affording a mothership might have been where you lost the Phoenix War, you know? Like just that 1 or 2 less Phoenix can actually be a really big deal.
Wow.
But Super has had like a bit of an economy lead. Now he is starting to lose that fight, but in insert remakes 4 Phoenixes at a time, and now he has a mothership.
I'm actually really surprised. I honestly just feel like there's been a little bit of better control from Billowy in terms of stacking up the Phoenix. You want your Phoenix stacked up so that as soon as you get into that like very barely I'm in range of my opponent, that all of my Phoenix are going to attack and only some of yours. And oh my god, no! Super is only engaging with some of his Phoenix. I mean, I really do feel like Super has had a big upgrade lead for a while, so he should be able to do this. And I think Super, he is going to be pounced on over here. Although,
Yeah. I mean, that was
Mothership Core.
It was mostly Super's fault, but that observer also being here is, I think, that's something Super didn't expect.
Oh boy, that Mothership Core is soaking up a lot of hits, but it's not going to be nearly enough as the observers over here for Billowy.
Yeah, it's now 19 Phoenix to 7 for Super, and Super's trying to get his production going again, but it's also 5 Phoenixes at a time versus 4. GG.
And
Phoenix.
Phoenix versus Phoenix. Billowy takes the series 2-0 and moves on to the finals, the grand finals of the Olimoleague, number 61.
And that will lead us into the other semifinal, which will be Scarlet versus Soloist.
That's going to be exciting. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hop to a short little break while we get that series set up. You guys are watching the Olimoleague. We'll see you guys in a bit.